This episode of Tom Rhodes Smart Camp is not sponsored by Topo Chico, but it should be because I drink enough of this stuff. All right. All over my nice blanket. Cheers, Mommy.
Cheers, honey.
Happy summer moment.
Not a cloud in the sky.
Not a cloud in the sky. Do you remember walking through this park during the pandemic every day when we would go for walks? That was a really nice time in Los Angeles where everything shut down.
We practically had this place to ourselves. Although once in a while you'd see interesting things like high wire people and
my friend Alex Hooper was set up right a high wire between these trees.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, people boxing, people doing yoga. Remember we saw people sword fighting with wooden swords. That was interesting.
That was interesting.
So it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
So it's funny, your feelings about Los Angeles. The thing you always say about Los Angeles is you couldn't pay me to live here.
It kind of grew on me when we used to walk around the neighborhoods. I started seeing how interesting they were, and of course the plants were very interesting. They had desert plants next to roses and other beautiful plants that I wouldn't have thought would work together.
Yeah, and you had that cool app on your phone, the Picture This, where you could take a picture of any tree or flower and it tells you the name and the origin.
And it, whatever questions you want about it, even poetry that was written about the plant.
About the plant, wow.
Yeah.
That was nice. Well, I never realized on Beverly Boulevard there's all these magnolia trees and
absolutely wonderful.
All the bougainvilleas on the fence at Television City. And remember, what was it, the Africa, the Mickey Mouse plant?
Oh, yes, that was in a neighborhood.
The African tulip tree, I think that was my favorite.
One of your favorites.
Yeah, I think.
And we run across that a Mickey Mouse plant, and it really did look like a Mickey Mouse. That was really unusual.
So I love your philosophies. Like, when we walked by, right now is an interesting time in Los Angeles because, you were here during the pandemic. You were here. We went to the George Floyd protest.
Yes, we did.
In this park, Pan Pacific Park. And it was really lovely. It was like young Jewish families, young Asian families, all the flavors of humanity. And then it seemed like some agitators came at the end and we got out of here. And then
we got nervous because more and more people were coming, and
we were worried about the virus.
And you said, "Mom, let's just go ahead and leave." And we went that way and went around. And by the time we got to your place, people had started setting fire to
the neighborhood was on fire.
It was. We saw the whole thing from your balcony. That was interesting. Yeah,
that was a moment of American and Los Angeles history we saw firsthand, and we were running back and forth from the balcony to the television to see what was happening.
Oh my goodness.
And there was helicopters circling all overhead all day.
And I was more than happy that we left when we did.
Yeah.
And the cool part that I thought, not that stuff happened, but that the next day when we took a walk, people were out there cleaning up.
That was really beautiful. I'm glad you pointed that out. I forgot that.
The neighbors.
The most beautiful thing, the day after the George Floyd riots, everyone in the neighborhood, in the Fairfax district, which is where I live, all came out and cleaned up the neighborhood. People had paint remover and were removing the graffiti, and they were sweeping up the broken glass.
There was such unity in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That was very, very nice.
So there's some nice things about Los Angeles. But we walked by the writers are striking now. And I forgot to tell you this morning, the actors they didn't make the deal.
Oh, great.
And the actors are now on strike also.
Well, when we walked around and we saw these picketers, I decided to ask a few questions, and so this guy was picketing, and I said, can I ask you a question? And so I said, are they anywhere near having a
resolution
to this?
Yeah.
And he was saying how they were trying to split them up so that they wouldn't have a resolution, and they'd be desperate enough to sign whatever. And I think the signs they were carrying, who knows if that was true or not exactly, but they said they only wanted 2% of the profits, which sounds like reasonable.
Yeah, and they're making hundreds of billions of dollars on worldwide streaming.
But we don't have all the pieces, so you can't make a judgment, but it seemed as though they weren't being outrageous in their demands. But so I asked him if how was it affecting him personally, and the guy said, I just lost my health insurance, and I have a wife and a small child.
And a newborn child.
Tears came to my eyes because I know the feeling.
Yeah, when you hear the personal stories, and it's not just a news story that, because not all the writers are making tons of money, and they're the ones that create the content.
Well, usually the workers take the brunt of everything. So, hey. Anyway.
So you've seen some real historic moments in Los Angeles. You've been up front for these major events in history.
It seems I just come at the right moments. Like I came for a week to visit you, and then we were locked down for 4 months. That was...
Yeah, and you only brought a week's worth of clothes, and it was interesting. You would wear all my T-shirts.
Yeah.
So every day you would be wearing a different...
We had some interesting T-shirts.
And you picked out all good ones. I remember
there's a few I wouldn't wear.
There was I remember, I forget which one. Maybe it was the Amsterdam Hells Angels shirt or something. I went, Mom, you don't want that one.
No, I wouldn't even look at those. Oh my goodness.
But I love your philosophies on life. Look, that's one of my favorite things about Los Angeles. The Latino people who have the fresh fruit carts.
They seem to be all over.
They're all over Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's fresh fruit, watermelon, mangoes. Look at that. What a happy thing. You don't see that in Florida.
No, and it doesn't get. I mean, we could use it. It gets a lot hotter.
Yeah.
There than here. This is really nice.
So I love your philosophies. Like when we see really rich people in a rich car or a rich house, and you always go, they're not happy. So it's nice. It's a comforting thought to think that no rich people are happy.
Yeah, for sure they are. And rich people that work, and they should enjoy what they have. But and a lot of them do, and they do. You have to be blessed to bless people. I mean, poor people can't help. Well, they do help each other, but it's you can help a lot more if you have the money to start. To help people.
Yeah, like the beautiful dentist guy we had dinner with the other night. Rami, the one that I cried in his dentist chair.
Oh my goodness.
He was saying that he's finally going to realize this dream of his of going to Africa and doing dentist work for people who don't even live near a town, or they can't afford dentistry.
And to live out on a tent. That. It's got to be really.
Yeah, and then he said he was helping like homeless people in Los Angeles, and people that had severe drug problems that were in the program. Remember that guy? He told this one young guy who was trying to clean up his life for $1,000 you could save this tooth, and he said, "Mister, I'll never have $1,000 in my life."
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
That's. And that's reality.
Sad. It's some hard shit.
There's a lot of hard stuff out there, and a lot of people hurting. And you don't know who is next to you having a very hard moment.
Yeah. Well, I like the thing that you say about the tough thing about being rich is that you don't know who really loves you.
Who's your friend?
Because everybody wants something from you.
Yeah.
And the good thing about being poor is that you know exactly who loves you.
Well, I always thought it was a blessing to be poor.
If you're struggling and you have no money, take comfort in my mother's words. At least you know exactly who loves you if you're broke and have no money.
Yeah, but you could help a lot more people if you had money to help people. Oh my goodness.
So I got my, books have been a major thing in my life, and I got so many of my best qualities as a human being from you, and one of them is my love of books. And I remember, you've always been a reader, and you've always read to me and us, the children.
We used to go to the book.
The library. That's
library every week.
That's where I fell in love with
guys would carry
books,
tons of books home.
And I always thought it was such a, what a beautiful, imaginative thing to be able to walk into the library. I thought we would go like once a month. Maybe it was every week.
No, every week.
So we would go there once a week, and you could whatever the limit was, you could pick out 4 or 5 books at a time. So to be a kid, however old I was, and to be able to go into this place full of knowledge and any kind of book, because back then they didn't ban books or whatever.
Well,
but you could have
some books should be banned.
A book on any topic.
Yeah. I like the children's books because they have such happy pictures. Mm-hmm. Even when you don't know the story, when I would read to you guys, you'd have it memorized. And I remember even before you guys could read, if I was tired and try to skip something, give you a short version, they'd know that was not correct, and I had to read the whole thing.
I remember, checking out books.
They have memorized these books.
Oh, like Dr. Seuss and those kind of things.
Oh
the fun children's books. But I remember, checking out books on cars and horses and history and whatever.
They take you to a different place.
Yeah, and even today, it's when there's problems in the world or problems with myself, that it's nice to be transported to a different world.
Yeah.
Through the glory of the written word.
Well, you can get a lot of insight about people and good stories. There's a lot of junk you have to look through.
But I have thousands of books in my living room, and I remember during the pandemic, you knocked out you were with me for 4 months, and I think you read 10 books in that period. And even this morning, I showed you this.
A little more than 10.
I showed you this. This new book I got on Bernini, the Italian sculptor, and it's called The Artist and the Eternal City. And then you dove in, and already you're knocking it out. And you and I,
it helps that we went to Rome.
I took you to Rome. We saw the the Villa Borghese. We saw Bernini's best work.
Yeah, that was totally fantastic, and you had to make a reservation through the computer. You were there, and really, you only had 2 hours to see this fantastic museum, and we didn't get to go to the top. I think we were on
really?
Second or third floor. We didn't get to the top floor. There was so much to see, and then they clear the people out after 2 hours. You get 2 hours, and that's it. Out. Sometimes I like to go to places like that, museums, by myself, because if you're with somebody else and they are not interested in what you're interested in, it's hard,
Well, I don't hang around with those kind of people who aren't
you
interested.
always were interested.
Yeah.
And we look at this stuff.
Well, I get this love of art and books and knowledge from you,
Well, that could come naturally to you.
It came a lot quicker because you know, and you've always been very artistic, and you painted and you did crafts, and you're a cook. I learned how to cook from you.
Well,
the guy in my yoga class, Zion, was asking me, your mother's visiting? Are you cooking for her? He goes, is she cooking for you? And I said, no, I'm cooking for her. And he goes, what, omelets? Are you making her omelets? I go, no, I can make more than an omelet.
Oh, I thought it was really interesting. When I stayed with you, you cooked all those 4 months. You wouldn't let me in the kitchen. You did breakfast, lunch, and
breakfast,
dinner.
lunch, and dinner. Yeah, and we had,
we ate really well.
I've got like 5 or 6 specialty dishes that I can make, and I kept cycling them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
the only thing is, you like hot stuff, and I don't.
Yeah.
But
well, that's why I don't make Thai food when you're here. So I get so many things from you, the love of art and books, and also I'm a very kind and thoughtful person. And that's
help each other, Tom.
That's been a problem in relationships with people taking advantage of your kindness. So how do you feel about that?
Oh my goodness. I can pass that on, since I was taken advantage of so many times. But, you know, I think God takes care of the people that take advantage of you. You should do the best you can and be nice to everybody.
As my mom would say, God will zap their ass. I always think it's funny.
I try not to be
God sticking a fistful of thunderbolts up somebody's ass because they did you wrong. God will zap their ass.
I don't want to picture that. Oh my goodness. No, but I mean, God does give you what you put out. What you put out in the world comes back.
Yeah.
They have different words for that, you know, karma or whatever. But it's really the spirit that you treat other people. I think that's what God's going to judge you on, how you treated others. So it's good to treat others well, even the people that are treating you bad, because you don't want to think less of your own self, to lower yourself to their standard.
So what's some of the best life advice you've learned that you can give me? I know we've had a lot of deep talks lately because you know, I've been sad and depressed.
And I've been where you are. I can say that I was so depressed that I was thinking of suicide a few times. And I was pretty depressed when I was pregnant with you.
Yeah, and you've always treated me as the miracle child, because you said you were going to kill yourself, and then you found out you were pregnant with me.
Right, and
that made you stick around.
For so long in my life, you couldn't kill a kid, you know. And because I had that philosophy that I couldn't do an abortion, I couldn't wait for you to get born so I could kill myself, which is kind of stupid. I was so out.
Wow.
But
but then you saw how cute and lovable I was. No, I don't know. Well, what made you stick around?
How could I leave you, you know, helpless as you were? And God helped me. He used you to keep me alive. And to think that, you know, my being so depressed, you ended up being a comedian. I mean,
that's interesting. Yeah, that you were sad and depressed the whole time that you carried me.
God has a sense of humor. But I'm glad He used you to
cheer up the world.
Stop me from doing something stupid that I would have regretted.
Yeah.
Of course, I wouldn't have lived to regret it, but. You know, things in life come and go. You know, just because you're depressed and miserable today, next week you might not be. One day can change how you see things.
So hold on.
Hold on. And bad things work to your good. I always believe that. Follow God, stay close to God, and take one step at a time one foot in front of the other until you can run. Walk first. And things always work themselves out.
Well, what have been your happiest moments in life?
Being with you.
Ding, 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 ding. Guess.
My children.
Guess who gets a fruit tart for dessert?
Sorry, honey. Wasn't trying to butter you up. That's Jared. You've cheered me up so many times, and we've had such great adventures just walking around.
We had a lot of near-death experiences too. We went to Yosemite National Park that first time, and we thought a deer went around a big boulder, and we were getting closer. We had our cameras, and we're tiptoeing to try and get a photo of these deer, and we got around, and it was a mama bear with a baby bear.
Well, you said, "Ma, I think I saw a deer going behind a big rock," because they have big rocks in Yosemite. And so we're running towards this rock to get to the other side and to see a deer. And a bear comes out. Oh my goodness. And it wasn't looking at us.
And it was close to that little red church in Yosemite Valley. And it wasn't looking at us, but we both sprinted. And I'll never forget, you actually ran faster than me, and you ran, and like I remember there was like a fallen tree, and you hurdled it like an Olympic hurtler, and like you got away quicker than I did.
Yeah, I kept calling you, Tommy. And we got out of there, and then people were running towards these bears to take a picture. It was kind of crazy, but we left.
Yeah, and I remember that time I took you to Joshua Tree.
Oh my goodness.
And we were again with our little cameras walking around, and there was like 12 baby rattlesnakes. And I go.
only heard it. I didn't.
I said, "Mom," yeah, we heard the little rattles.
Yeah.
And I said, "Mom, look out!" And you jumped left.
Well, you said jump, and
I said, "Mom, jump!"
And I said, "Lord," and I jumped. I don't know.
But it was like right at that moment that I said that, the mom rattlesnake. Are you seeing this theme of mother and children in our nature experience?
I didn't see anything.
This mom rattlesnake came in, but and I didn't say jump left or right. You jumped left, and had you jumped the other way, you'd probably be dead because you jumped away from the rattlesnakes.
Well, we were a long way from hospitals or anything.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of nowhere. But, you know, I prayed. All it takes is, Lord.
I remember that time when you visited me in Amsterdam when I had the late night talk show. Ron Jeremy was a guest.
Oh my goodness.
And Mr. Scumbag himself had invited us to some movie thing, and it was like, oh my God, it was a really disturbing film.
I know, we were trying to sneak out.
And we tried to sneak out, and then, hey, where are you going? And like, we watched like the first 3 minutes of it, and we looked at each other and we went, let's get the hell out of here.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, we've had a lot of brushes with danger and weird,
whatever. But we had a lot of other wonderful times.
Yeah.
Your time in Amsterdam with all your friends. We visited a guy that owned a wonderful.
Oh, the Hans Dulfer, the jazz, and his daughter is a famous saxophone player, Candy Dulfer. He invited us to her house, and he lived in a windmill.
Yes, that was interesting.
Yeah.
They were next to the windmill. Remember, they used the windmill as a storage area. He showed us how it worked. We went inside, and they gave us a typical
Dutch
lunch.
Pea soup and cheese sandwiches.
It was great.
Yeah, that's the typical Dutch.
It was great, and they were right by some water, and also I remember their yard one tree was down, and there were skeletons of something in the roots.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Wow, that was interesting.
See, and there's a lot of I don't know if it's if they're Mexican American or Central American, whatever the. I really like the Latino culture of Los Angeles. So the fruit cart went by, and then the little ice cream cart went by, and this guy blowing his horn sells little toys for the kids. And
cool.
Oh, I thought I brought my bubble wand. Yeah.
Calling people to come by.
I like the.
It's colorful.
The entrepreneurship of the parks and streets of Los Angeles.
There's a dog that looks like he's going to attack any second.
He looks like he's hunting something.
I know.
Do you remember our dog Butch?
Oh my goodness. He got a skunk one time and we could hardly get the odor off.
So, what else, Mommy?
Oh, let's just enjoy this wonderful weather here.
Beautiful.
Nice wind.
And another funny thing is you hate Frank Sinatra.
Well, not exactly hate.
And I'm not even a Frank Sinatra fan. And for years I've been like, well, this is a good song, you know, like Summer Wind. And you're like,
I just don't think
he talks the words. He doesn't sing them. That's your big.
I don't appreciate him much. I mean, some of the songs are pretty good, but he talks, you know.
So you came to America in 1950. You were what, 12?
12.
So like, you know, when Elvis hit, you were a teenager.
Yes, we were.
Hit you right at right time, and so you didn't have enough room in your heart for Frank and Elvis. It was just Elvis.
Well, oh my goodness.
So tell me about when you came to America.
Well, it was January, and I was not prepared for the cold, and I was not prepared for anything. I could barely breathe when I got out of the plane, because we were living in Peru, where the elevation is high, and we went to Washington, D.C. In January. And I remember being in class. We were the few foreign people in that school. And when it snowed, the teacher said, you know, I barely spoke English. I could understand it more than I could speak or read. But she wanted me to go outside. And the whole class was looking at my reaction of seeing snow for the first time.
Oh, she knew that you had never seen snow before.
So
wow.
She had me go outside, and everybody's looking at me to see what I do. Well, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I don't want to be on television. My first reaction, I need to be alone. Oh. But it was, you know, much later on, I can appreciate snow, thinking how beautiful it is, falling down.
Well, it's funny to think that you guys came to America and you didn't have coats.
Well, the
in the middle of
coat
January.
we had was, we did have coats, but they were spring coats. We didn't have coats in Peru, so it was...
Well, it must have been really tough not speaking English. So, you know, what was...
It was really tough. I tried to memorize, couldn't figure out how to do this language. So I memorized it, and really, they put me in this. I missed all the art classes because I had to go to remedial talk. I was there with somebody that helped people that stuttered or just that had a hard time speaking. And
oh, wow. They put you with those people.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not a good way to, then you'd learn English with a stutter.
No, you will learn. We were supposed to assimilate. So I assimilated. It was funny because sometimes I think that I was pronouncing the words correctly. There are like a few words I still can't say quite right, but the lady recorded me one time and played it back, and I could, when you hear yourself again, you could tell that it wasn't correct. But in my head, I was saying it correct, but it was.
What was the most difficult thing about learning English?
Well, there was this time when I was in class, and the teacher wanted to call the principal to come to the class. So I always put my hand up to go and do something, and she wanted the principal to come to the class. So I think she told me to get the principal. So I went to go get the principal. I saw her in the hallway talking to a crossing guard, and I said for her to come to the class, and she said busy. Well, I didn't know what busy was, so I said it 2 or 3 times for her to come to the class. She finally went like this, like I leave. Okay, I got the message. So I went back and hadn't done what she wanted me to do. I was really upset. So she said, "Where's the principal?" I said, busy. So she said, "Well, class, can anybody tell Sarah what busy?" Oh my goodness. So finally somebody said, occupied. Okay, occupado, I got it. And I was so embarrassed. So I never put my hand up again. As of course she never said.
Never volunteered for anything ever again.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's nice. Young Jewish women spraying each other with water guns.
Well, you never know what you're going to see.
In the long dresses. Yeah, you never know what you're going to see in this park. I've always loved that you were from Buenos Aires, and I always thought, that gave me a little extra tango sexy cool. And I really enjoyed that we have family there, and especially this last trip, was so nourishing for my soul, and I got to know, because I hired an interpreter for the first 2 weeks I was there, and so I got to know these cousins on a more deeper, complex level than I ever had before, and share stories and hear their stories, and it really was a magical experience. You remember when you and I went to Argentina, and I wanted to take tango classes, and you translated, and the tango teacher man was such an arrogant prick. Do you remember? Do you remember what he said?
Yeah. Go ahead, you tell him.
Say it.
No, it's your story.
He said, "What? Because you're an American, you could never learn it, or only an Argentine person could."
Yes, it was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had flip-flops on. He was doing the tango in flip-flops. What a loser, that guy. Well, why are you giving tango lessons if you don't think you could teach it to a non-Argentinian person,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just thought that was kind of funny. But I didn't teach you guys.
Yeah, so why did
you guys
let's address that. Why did you not teach us Spanish, which
we were in America, you were American, learn the language. I'm sorry.
And it wasn't cool to be a foreigner in the 50s, and you didn't there was no Argentinian Spanish-speaking neighborhood.
No, not where I was.
Where you lived.
Not in the area we lived. And
it was white America, post World War II victory, Elvis.
No, you were supposed to assimilate.
Yeah.
This was a place where all nations came together and they made one nation, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that they came from different places doesn't mean anything. I mean, they came from different places and then they were American. And we were American, and I wasn't going to go back. And so, you know, like I had a son that fought in the war for America. We're Americans now.
And you had a husband that fought
and if he fought
Vietnam.
Yeah. So that's it. You take on where you live, and then that's your past is your past, and your present is what you have, and you put.
But it would have been helpful to know Spanish.
Yeah, but I mean, who knew that all of a sudden there's going to be all these Spanish people? Good heavens! And the schools hire translators. Well, we never would have learned English if we had some translator.
Yeah, you know, like California, to get your driver's license, you can take your driver's license test in any language. In Chinese.
How are you going to learn English?
Tagalog.
If you stick with your own people all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you need to be out
Farsi.
there.
You could. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but there's more of a, I don't know, cultural sensitivity out here than on the East
I
Coast.
disagree with all this stuff. But, I mean, this is America. We need to pull together and unite. So what if you came from somewhere else? You're here for a reason. Why are you here?
Yeah, but I mean, you can be able to
have.
You should be able to drive a car if.
Well, why should you even be here if you don't want it?
Okay, but it's not something that happens overnight, and with a car, people could earn a living.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
That's true.
So you'd have a better chance of learning the language over time, having a job, having a car, doing you know, regular people things. It's
well, if you're going to live here, you have to do regular people things, and you know, you got to go to the store and be able to buy stuff. You know, transactions. People could cheat you when you don't know what the money is like.
Yeah.
You have to guard yourself, and you have to learn the stuff. You know, like driving. In England, they drive on the left. So here, they drive on the right. You know, most places drive on the right. Those English people are weird. Well,
I don't know if it's true or not. I heard that goes back to Napoleon.
Oh, really? I have no idea.
Napoleon is why we drive on the right, because the conquering army, Napoleon, wanted the right thoroughfare, you know, to drive through, and that the defeated army had to go on the left and go the other way.
That's weird.
But you know,
well, I know that Eisenhower was the one that made all the wonderful roads in America.
You know, the English beat him at Waterloo, so why are they still driving on the loser side of the road? I don't know. There's like I have some facts that I've never checked, but
well,
I heard that before. And then also Napoleon is why we started using last names, so they could keep track of people paying taxes and stuff.
Oh, really?
That people didn't use last names. You know, it was like Leonardo da Vinci. It was Leonardo of Vinci. And Joan of Arc. She was Joan from the town of Arc. That, you know, I would be Tom from Oviedo. You'd be Sarah from Buenos Aires.
The stuff is interesting.
Yeah.
And there's always a reason why they do things. You know, why they drive on this side and we drive on the other side. It works for them, you know, but I wouldn't want to drive in England. Probably kill myself the first time.
Yeah, I've tried it in England and Ireland. It's terrifying to drive on the other side.
Good heavens. You see a car coming and it's like...
Well, just because your brain wants to keep going to the right, you know?
Yeah. I don't think I'd like to drive there. But driving here is ridiculous. I can't drive in California. And when I'm in Florida,
I think it's fun. It's like a...
and I see people go from all the way sideways. I go, there's the California.
But I'm making an effort to learn Spanish now, and you've been helping me the last couple of days or since you got here, learn Spanish. So it's never too late. And what's the word for carrot? You taught me yesterday. Carrot's a
Zanahoria.
With a Z, right?
Yeah.
Zanahoria.
Well.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And what's right and left again?
Izquierda.
Izquierda. That's right?
Not really, but it'll work. Izquierda.
Izquierda. No, not even close?
It's close.
Okay. Izquierda.
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 Oh, good.
Okay, and what's left?
Derecha.
Derecha.
Well, I didn't speak Spanish for a long, long time. So, you know, after you dream in English, you kind of lose your own language. It's not good to lose your own language, but who are you going to practice with if you don't have people around you that speak it?
Yeah.
You know, so it's, practice makes perfect, like on everything.
Yeah.
And I wanted to learn English and be part of this country.
Well, and I want to be in touch with my, what little ethnicity I have, my Argentinianness. So, and I really love going down there. I love our cousins. And
well, only you would think of hiring a translator. I thought that was really...
That was genius. That was the best $1,000 I ever spent in my life.
Pretty well unruly.
Yeah. And she was a great translator, too. When people were talking over each other, she knew how to pick out what was important.
That's really good.
To translate on both sides.
I never would have thought of it, Tom.
And I'm absolutely in love with Argentina, and I want to go there whenever I can. I want to learn. I'm in love with the Latin America now. You know, I want to see more of it. And Mexico, I've always found really enchanting place. Their culture.
Yes, their food is so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the regions and.
Yeah.
It's delicioso. And
we're gonna have tacos later.
We're gonna have tacos later.
I know one time.
That's one good thing about California. You like?
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot of California that I like.
What do you love about California?
Well, all the cool parks are in the West.
And what about the great story when we saw the elephant seals? I never even knew elephant seals existed.
I know.
So where were we going? We were going up.
You were
no, I had a gig. I had a gig in Carmel at a winery.
Yes.
And this was 3 years ago?
Oh my goodness.
And we should have made the drive in one day, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Horrendous. California.
But from Ventura to Santa Barbara, it was bumper to bumper. It took us 9 hours.
And 100 miles of bumper to bumper.
It took us 9 hours to go 100 miles an hour.
Tommy, you couldn't pay me to live
here. Pay me to live here, she says.
I'm sorry.
And then we got this, it was no hotels for miles.
Oh my God.
And we went to the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo, which is a famous landmark hotel. If you're ever traveling in California, all the rooms are different themes. It's a really cool hotel, and they were sold out. All these other hotels that we checked, everything was sold out.
30 miles.
For 30 miles. And you and I slept in the car, in the parking lot.
In my life have I slept in a car.
And it was 30 degrees. It was December 28th. It was freezing. And we had the car on running the heat.
Oh my gosh.
But because we slept in the car, we woke up at 5:30, 6 in the morning. We ate breakfast at the Denny's right by there. And then the road in straight from Santa Barbara, where the Madonna Inn is, to the Pacific Ocean, to the Pacific Coast Highway, we took a right, and only about 3 to 5 miles up, and we stopped. And we walked out to the water, and there were elephant seals
Never saw
I
those
never
things.
even knew such a creature
Yeah.
existed. So had we not had the horrendous traffic experience,
Yes.
having to sleep in the car like hobos, we never would have been at the beach that early and seen those elephant
I
seals.
know, and you were trying to get so close to them to get close-ups, and they were gigantic.
Yeah.
And
It was mating season,
and
so
they
they
were
were
fighting each other
they were
at
fighting
some
each
point.
other for the ladies.
Oh my goodness. And,
Yeah.
I kept calling you, but you were, I gotta get a good.
Got to get that Instagram shot, Mom. Like, remember when we went to, that's a great story, when we went to, I took you to Jerusalem.
Oh goodness, yes. What a great trip that was. Oh, that was, the whole time I was there, it was like, I can't believe I'm here.
That was really special that I got to take you there.
That was really,
And, I've always appreciated you praying for me and, my personal relationship with Jesus. Another great thing I got from you, and the power of prayer and faith, and to bring you to Jerusalem was really special. But we screwed up the 2 Sabbaths we were there.
It was me. I screwed up.
We didn't have any food, and everything's closed.
Well, they called from the hotel and they said,
Do you need anything?
"Are you prepared for the Shabbat?"
Shabbat, that's it, not the Sabbath. Sorry.
And I said, "Guess so." Yes, I'm prepared. I didn't know what I was prepared for, but I said yes without thinking. That was the problem. I didn't think. And there must have been a reason why they called to say, "Are you prepared?" Okay, but I didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
And then we're doing tourist stuff, and everything's closed, and we can't find a place to buy any food, and we were starving. Go ahead and finish the story.
So the one place opened at like 6 or 7 p.m. I guess it was. Because all the Jewish businesses are closed. I guess maybe it was Palestinian or Arabic people. There was a shawarma place, and we had eaten there the week before, and it saved the day, and we were starving the whole day when we finally got to eat the shawarma. And I don't think you'd ever had shawarma before, had you?
No, I don't think so.
And then so the next Saturday we're there, and we're waiting for the place to open, and then it sounded like machine gun fire on the next block, and they were just opening the shawarma shop. The guy just lifted the shutters, and you go, "Tommy, get in here!" And
it's a tiny little spot.
And I didn't even look up from my phone because I was posting on Instagram.
and they're shooting bullets, and I thought at least we could get out of the road. I mean, in a safety of a building, and you wouldn't move. I
didn't move. I didn't flinch, and I thought it was gunfire too. And you go, I can't believe that you didn't react to the gunfire. And I said, "Sorry, Mom. Crushing it on social media is more important than death."
That was ridiculous.
What a cowboy gunslinger thing to say. That's a guy who's really addicted to Instagram.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, Mom. Crushing it on Instagram is more important than death.
I was trying to drag him into this tiny little
But we had done a lot of great things that day. I had to post the pictures and get my likes and make my friends and followers jealous.
Well, later we found out it was a wedding. Imagine people shooting.
The guy, they laughed at us on the inside. He said it was a Palestinian wedding.
Yeah.
And that there was firecrackers. But
they were shooting guns. Shooting guns.
I think it was guns and firecrackers. But
Who shoots guns in Jerusalem?
Yeah, and who in a city where there's so much gunfire and
attentions,
violence, why would you?
Why would you shoot guns? And where is the bullet going to come back and land? It could hit somebody. I mean, that's stupid.
The one good joke I got about it's not that nice. I don't tell it anymore. But so in 2014, when I did the Edinburgh Festival, the best friend I made was this comedian from Jewish Orthodox comedian from Jerusalem,
Nicest guy.
Yisrael Campbell. What a nice guy. And so he invited us to his home for Shabbat dinner.
That was so cool.
And on the Shabbat, there are no Jewish businesses open, and there's no Jewish taxi drivers. All the taxi drivers are Palestinian. So in front of the hotel, the Samuel Herbert Hotel where we stayed, on Haifa Road, I believe. There's a line of taxis, and none of them would run the meter. They all wanted a flat fee of $50. And we had been to the man's house before, and it only cost $6 to go there. And they wanted $50, and we went down the line of taxis, and none of them would run the meter, and they all wanted 50 flat. And you were so angry, you were so pissed off at this, that these Palestinian
I hate cheating.
Taxi drivers wouldn't run the meter. So I told that story on stage a few times after the fact, and I would say at the end, now when my mother and I watch the news and bad things happen to Palestinians, she goes, serves them right for not running the meter. Which,
well,
that's not a very nice joke.
No.
Yeah, so I don't tell it anymore. I've enlightened.
It was almost the end of our trip when we had gone. He invited us several times, and when we went there in a taxi, there was a moment where, I didn't know if the guy was going to go somewhere and hold us up or something. It was not a happy feeling. You get these.
Well, I remember you asked the one driver. You said, "Can I ask you, do you really get along or no?" And I'm like, "Mom, don't." Well, let's not talk about it.
I wanted to. It's good to ask questions when you have questions.
You're there,
and get the people's opinion. I think he just glazed over it. Okay, might not have been exactly how he felt, but
Yeah.
It was a standard. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Answer, which doesn't say anything. But I'd had it with these taxi people that, there were several times where I wasn't sure we would get to where we were going safely. And so I said, that's it, we're walking home. And it took us
And we did walk home.
2 hours.
I think it took us like 3 hours. It was a long-ass walk.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, so we walked.
It was I forgot that we walked home.
We walked because
you didn't want to pay the flat $50.
No, it wasn't that. It was their attitude. Yeah. And I wasn't feeling safe. I'd rather walk. And so we walked. And we walked through a cemetery at one point. Oh my goodness. It was in the dark here.
But we've had some pretty amazing experiences all over the world,
Yeah. It was interesting.
We've been to Buenos Aires together, Amsterdam, Rome, Jerusalem, San Francisco, Key West. Went to Key West. Key West has been very special for us.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, when Laura, my sister, your beautiful daughter, after she died, we went there to heal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was when you got married at Laura's bedside, and you had already secured a place in Key West.
Yeah, we were supposed to get married, Ashton and I, in Key West, and a week before we were supposed to get married, they said Laura had 24 hours to live. My sister had stage 4 breast cancer. And Laura always wanted me to settle down. I didn't want her to miss it, so we decided to get married. My friend Lou Angelwolf is an ordained minister, so he drove over from Clearwater, and then we all huddled around Laura's bed. And then
we had a wedding.
We had a wedding at my sister's hospital bedside.
And we had a cake and everything.
Hours before she died.
Yeah.
And that was really emotional. Not a dry eye in the house, especially me.
Yeah, it was,
I do. I just remember
know, it was
weeping.
hard.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And then after she died, just the
And her husband was wonderful.
guttural crying.
I mean,
But Laura, she when we got married, she clapped, and then
Laura was always wonderful.
she said congratulations through her breathing mask, and it was the last words she ever spoke.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
We were very close. It was very hard. I
Yeah.
still miss her.
She was the glue that held our family together.
Really
and
did.
our family really has not been the same
Nope.
since she's been gone. So,
She didn't like disunity, that's for sure. She wouldn't have been happy with us.
yeah. And she loved to host parties, and she was always
She could do some parties.
celebrating. She was all about joy and fun and happiness.
She was
and,
happy.
Yeah.
We her husband and his wife invite me a lot, and we talk about Laura, which I really appreciate that I can do that with Renee. And so we always talk about Laura. Not all the time. I wouldn't want her to feel bad.
But it's nice that they
It's nice
honor
that-
her, and
yeah.
they keep you in, and he's one of the most top quality humans
Oh,
I've ever known.
both of them
The
are
way
terrific.
a lot of spouses flee
Yeah.
when there's cancer. They just can't handle it.
I know.
And-
when right before they were married, she found out that she had stage 4, and so she told him he could go on because it was stage 4 and
Yeah.
she might not make it. And he said that we're getting married now. He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, and then when Laura got married, she proudly got married with her bald
and
cancer chemotherapy head.
Well-
that was beautiful too. Really defiant.
They got married at her friend's yard.
The downtown or the Orlando Historical Society.
That was the real wedding, but
Yeah.
the first wedding, they had 2 weddings. They got married at her friend's garden, and then they did the big wedding as they had planned. They were planning to get married when all this happened.
Yeah, wow.
And he said he.
See, if you don't get married, bad things won't happen. I'm kidding. But no, I really thought she was really kind of a Joan of Arc, a woman of strength and power at the official wedding, when she didn't wear a wig, she didn't wear a veil, she had a beautiful wedding dress, and proudly got married with her bald head.
She always was real brave and always remembered everybody and always did kind and thoughtful things. I was always proud of her.
Yeah, I think that was probably the hardest it's ever been for me, being a comedian. After those 2 years after she died, I just saw no joy in life and was so sad. And we went to Key West a few times, and that really helped the healing to be there, see the ocean and walk around that.
Nature is always healing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I've been having my own struggles recently, and I think the answer to all of the world's problems is mom hugs. So it's been really nice to have you here and be able to hug you in the morning and hug you throughout the day. And I love you, Mommy.
Love you too, honey.
Thank you. Yay.
Oh.
I love you, Mommy.
Love you too.
Is there any words of wisdom or advice you'd like to give to the people of the earth?
Goodness.
In closing?
Love you, kids. Have them love you. No, you can't force people. Just spread joy. It'll come back.
Spread joy. It'll come back. Happy summer, Mom.
You too, Tommy.
I love you, Mommy.
Love you too.
How do you say happy summer in Spanish?
Feliz verano.
Feliz verano.
Verano.
Feliz verano. Hooray for humanity.